Say, done, we done tore your kingdom down. Oh, glory. Say, done, we done tore your kingdom down. You see, he was building up his old kingdom. Oh, in our church. Now I'm telling you, say done. We done tore your kingdom down. Oh, glory. Say done. Bob Whitmore is out. Hey, people. We're going to talk about Greenleaf. This is the season before the finale. This episode before the finale. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. I get my notes right. These people have done an excellent job. Now, we don't know when this coronavirus kicked in and they decided they had to have basically half a season, only 8 episodes, but they sure did seem to tie this one up neatly, right? A lot of things were answered in this episode. Of course, there's one more episode, but we'll get there in a minute about the next episode. For now, a whole lot happened in this one. Okay, it opens up with Grace is bailing Darius out of jail. Last week, there was some speculation that maybe he was killed, but it looks like, no, they set him up. They put PCP in his car and said he was driving under the influence of PCP or something like that. But Darius is out of jail. Grace bailed him out. Next thing we see is Bishop. Darius is going back to the story. He's got more work to do. But he has his information and he has his witnesses. Then we see Bishop's giving May their original wedding ring. Wouldn't she be wearing her original wedding ring? So I don't know how the marriage thing works, but I guess this was his original engagement ring. He found it in their baby. Oh, this ain't gonna work. Come here. Be quiet. Clear high. This is my big show. Shut the hell up. Excuse me, cheering. I have to take care of my unruly child. Come on. Okay, stay there. Every time somebody walks in the hall, he got to show out. Okay, so he wants to get this marriage going right now, right? May's saying, no, we're going to do it on Flag Day or something. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So May decides she wants to give these people a piece of property. There's a big piece of property. You know, they have hundreds of acres of land, right? So they can chop off a piece of it and give it to them, these people. Tara and her sister, Claudia. Their sister, what's her sister's name? That evil one. Mm-hmm. Miss Rochelle. Right? Bishop is totally against that. He's saying if we give them anything, it will be like I'm admitting to guilt. I have done something wrong, and I caused that man's death. See, the whole thing is Rochelle still got in her head that Bishop has caused her father's death, and she wants revenge. Now, there's something a little bit unrealistic to me with this Rochelle character. She doesn't want the house. She's not interested in the house. How are you gonna not be interested in hundreds and hundreds of acres of land and this big, huge mansion? Even if you're going to just keep it for a week and sell it, I would think it'll have some value to you. But this being television. All right. Bishop is totally against it. Zora is planning on leaving for New York City no matter what she told her father. She's anxious, hot in the pants, and she wants to leave on her regular scheduled time. So the father, Jacob, had told her to get rid of this ticket and let us do this in an organized, civilized way if you really want to go to New York that bad. But he wants her to live with some relative in, I forget what city, somewhere very close to New York City, but not in New York City. Zora don't want that. She wants to be a part. She wants to be in the big lights, right? So she's going forward with her plan on leaving on this evening. This is all taking place in a day, I assume. All right, Grace and Aaron, they show up in the site just like they said they would. With information that stopped the demolition of this. They they had an injunction or a temporary restraining order. I think they called it an injunction to stop the demolition in its tracks, right? Grace and Aaron are together. Let me see. Claiming that Jacob and Clarissa did not realize who they were selling their land to when they sold it. It was Max, right? But this guy, this Italian dude, he's saying that yes, your Clarissa did know exactly who she was selling to, H&H, right? And she enjoyed it so much. Some odd reason, Grace wants to slap the shit out of him, but apparently part of this injunction is based on them not knowing who they were selling to, right? Nevertheless, the demolition does stop. I don't know that Clarissa could have the power where just if she knew, I would think that Jacob would have to know as well, since he would be the primary on the land. They're a couple, you know. Anyway. But we all know that Clarissa did know she was being evil at the time. She was mad at her husband. That's why she screwed the Italian and got all this information about these wheels going. Noah has found the caregiver. He calls Grace, tell her, I found the caregiver, the guy who worked on the land, who was under the impression that somehow he might inherit the land, who made references to this Negro that keeps coming over to the house, right? And so, this is the big part. This is a big part of this whole story. This explains a whole lot, too. They find the caregiver. And at first they say, well, was there an affair going on between Daryl James and the lady? He said, oh, no, that's nasty. He said, no. Mrs. What's her name? Whatever. The old lady was actually Daryl James's mother. Kind of all makes sense now, right? Because from the beginning, we've all been wondering, I'm sure other people have been wondering as well as me, why would this white woman give a care provider or a janitor, he was the maintenance man at the church, a little tiny church, why would she just give him all her property, right? So people were thinking, well, maybe there was an affair. I was thinking, my guess was that the Negro she's talking about was actually James. But no, it was Daryl James, and she did leave him all her property in her original will. And there was a reason for that, because this woman was his mother. And it goes all the way back. Oh, this would explain all of this boy's hair. Remember Basic Skanks? How his hair, the texture of his hair, he had obviously been raised by black people. He was part black, but he was part something. It seemed like he was part something else. I thought he was half Latin or something, because he had this straight hair. So these people must have, the writers already knew that this was his mother. In their mind, they must have already recognized that, right? The other girls, Rochelle, no, they're not. I mean, they're fair skinned. I mean, they're okay. But he was a light skinned guy who could pass for a Puerto Rican, right? Anyway, May offers Miss Terra this land, right? Now, I don't like when they do this in fiction, though. They always, because you people know that all of a sudden you're faced with $5 or $6 million, you're going to jump on it. You're going to be very excited about it. People don't just say, oh, I don't want your money. I want your apology and all this kind of bullshit that they do in fiction all the time. So she offers the land. Tara's willing to take it, but she says Rochelle wants more. What Rochelle wants is for the bishop to admit to, I don't know what would be first degree murder, but for murdering her father. That's what she thinks she's got coming. And that's what she believes is the truth. Right? So she's saying that Rochelle wants something else. Bishop tries to save AJ's soul. Now they're bonding over this card situation. And Bishop almost forgot about it. He had to think, oh yeah, you want to talk about the card. So they're bonding over his car, and Bishop tries to minister to him to a bit to accepting Christ, right? But he doesn't want to push. So AJ is still a little resistant. He said maybe someday I'll get there. Maybe in the next episode, this will be one of the scenes we get. But Yeah, AJ is not quite ready yet. But he's becoming a much more likable character since his suicide attempt. Okay. Bob Whitmore plans on making his big announcement when they declare that they're running for Senate and all this at a press conference at the church. So now he called everybody to the church. And he wants to. Is he going to announce to them, or he's going to have a meeting with them before the announcement? But he's planning on announcing now, right? And okay, here's a mystery. Now we got left with one mystery, right? Because they explain that this white lady, which I remember, I wish I could remember that name. I hate calling people just about what race they are. Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Davis. Okay. We've already established now the tie between Daryl James, Mrs. Davis, that's her son, right? But we don't know who was the father because he is a black man. She is a white woman. She's the mother. But we don't know who the father was of the child, right? So there's still a possibility. Because I don't think they're going to end up with this house. There's still a possibility that someone on James's family was the father. Now, it wouldn't be James because I think that Daryl James and Bishop were close in age. Certainly, Uncle Matt was close in age to them. So Uncle Matt couldn't, because some people say, well, Uncle Matt could be the father. Because why would he have so much influence over this woman to suggest who she leaves all her property to, right? But there's a possibility that there's still some kind of a tie, family tie, which is going to allow Miss May's conscience to stay in her house. Now, so we know that Matt was too young to be the father, right? But Matt and Lady May, weren't they brother and sister? So we saw who, I don't know. Too complicated. I'm thinking there's still some kind of family tie, either on Bishop's side or May's side, to this woman, why she would make him the second choice as to who to leave the house with. Matt sent him over there to meet her. He had never even met her. It's a total stranger. But obviously she believed in leaving her land in her family, keeping it in her family, because she was going to leave it to her son. Okay, so perhaps Matt murdered the son. Perhaps Matt murdered the son so it will pass on to the next living relative, right? So I'm guessing. This is only a guess, so don't hold me to it. Well, you can hold me to it if you want to. I don't care. There's some kind of family tie to the Greenleafs as well. Okay? I'm just guessing there. Next thing we see is May tells Tara and Rochelle about their grandmother, right? Rochelle's still evil. Evil. I like to. Rochelle is still evil. She's not satisfied. She still wants the bishop to admit he murdered her father. I guess that will give her that's all she's really interested in. Now, Rochelle was not a poor woman, but you're not even influenced by the fact you're getting all these millions of dollars for nothing. And you find out who your grandparents are. Okay. So Bob Whitman got everybody down at the church, right? He's trying to tell them this story. I guess people have heard about this situation with Phil's mother and these black people who he was involved in a mortgage scandal. Right. So he's trying to spin it. And Bishop shows up while he's trying to spin it. Bishop gives this long speech. He's admitting to confessing to his sin of greed. How he got wrapped up in. First, they got the house, right? These people just had a little storefront kind of church. First, they got the woman left them the house. He was able to use the house as collateral to build the church. So I guess they ain't been living free. I mean, both of these things are tied together. He admits to his greed, by some things that he should have known, but he never took time to figure them out because he was benefiting so much from his church and his house, right? So he gives a long speech. Hold on. In the midst of that time, Phil steps up, and Phil now admits that his mother was guilty and afraid that God would not forgive her for something on her deathbed. He never knew what it was. Now he understands what it was. They had swindled all these black people by giving them loans. You know, people always need money. Giving them these loans and tying up their property. When they defaulted on the loan by missing one payment, they would take their house. This is how he cheated all these people. That's why he's so obsessed with all these black people in his church now, in this place where he's running to be senator. So Phil turns on him. And then Phil also goes and asks Judy, the dingbat, for his ring back, his mother's ring back. So, let me see. All right, after Bishop gives his big speech and his confession and his apologies to the church for his greed and whatever, and for not seeing things that he should have seen, Charity breaks out in Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved, oh, rich. You know what I thought of when she sang that song? I mean, the whole church, you know, it's Hollywood. The whole church starts singing along with her, right? And they are forgiving the bishop in this song. I thought of the Barack Obama when after those church slayings. I thought of when that fool went and killed all those people, 9 people in the church, and then Obama was speaking at the service, and he started singing that song. It was so beautiful. My whole family was here. Like, I think it's 11 people. My whole family came from Indiana to visit me, right? And while they were visiting me, Barack Obama was singing that song on television. So I said, "Hey, everybody, come in here!" And we all crowded into my bedroom and sat up there and watched Barack Obama sing "Amazing Grace." Anyway, it reminded me of that scene. "Amazing Grace" has been a song, been around a whole lot longer than that, though. Let me see. Grace confronts Rochelle. Rochelle is she just ingrained evil. Even when she wins, she's miserable. She said, "I got what I want. I don't want that." So, because Grace goes out there and tell her in the lobby there. So I guess you get the house. And then Rochelle said, "I was never interested in the house. I got what I wanted today." You know, still ain't happy. He confessed that it wasn't. Well, he confessed that it was her grandmother, and why her father died. No one said it directly, but it looks like Matt killed her father. Matt, the child molester, killed her father in order for the house to pass through the Greenleafs. I'm still thinking there's going to be a because May is only surrendering because of the family tie, right, to this land. But if there's also a family tie to the Greenleafs, then it would indicate that the woman knew exactly what she was doing. It was no swindle, right? You guys mark my words. We'll see. We'll see next week. There's only one episode left. They're only doing 8 episodes in this whole season. So, I don't want that house. Well, you got it going on like that, huh? Anyway, that's Hollywood. They always do that. People are so principled and so stuck in their vendettas and so forth. Next thing we see is Phil. Phil tries to break. Phil, I guess Phil was in love with Charity. He done took his ring back from Miss Judy, and now he comes out in front of the church after the service and tries to woo Charity again, and she says, "No man, not even my ex-husband, who I done had children with, a child with, have hurt me as deeply as you have, Phil. I'm happy about you standing up for what was right. Never again, honey. You will not do me this way again. I am not about to marry your ass. So Charity continues to walk away from Phil, saying never again. Very quickly, Darius just says that CBS has done this story on Bob Whitmore, and Bob Whitmore now is stepping down from his company, where I guess he said he had 160 churches around the world. He's stepping down because of this mortgage fraud, right? This scandal. It seems to me he would be stepping down from running for the Senate, but a whole lot of them are doing this mortgage fraud shit. That's what the whole mortgage thing collapse was all about. A whole lot of them are doing that with these loans, predatory loans, and all this kind of stuff. So they wrap that up real quick in one statement from Darius. Usually, I guess if they had more time, there would be a scene where his career's collapsing. Bob Whitmore. Mm-hmm. Next thing we see is Grace and Darius are lip locked, so it indicates that they're getting back together. It's not anything heavy. It's just, they're kissing, but it's saying that they're getting back together again. I was unclear if she was going to be with him or be with Noah. At least he talks. I think you're better off with him. Okay. Little sidebar. Sophia has went and talked to her mother, and her mother said, I forget what the conversation is about, but her mother says, "Is that what you want to talk to me about?" And Sophia confessed. She said, "No, I promised that what happened with the picture, it will never happen again. It was a mistake," and all this kind of stuff. And Grace says, "What picture?" So Zora had told Sophia that she had told her mother about these pictures to get even for her telling her leaving for New York, right? But Zora said that she told Grace about it, right? And now she's finding out she lied. She didn't tell Grace. Grace knew nothing about it. So Ms. Zora wants to still go to New York City. Now she wants this girl, Sophia, to follow her, go with her, and she wants Sophia to ask her mother for the money, because of course Grace still has this money from her inheritance. Whole lot of screwing going on here, wasn't there? A lot of baby daddies and baby mamas. Okay. Last scene. Bishop is sitting on the bed, right? I just love that. Oh, I wish I can get that bed. I've been looking online and everything else. I went online looking for a Moroccan bed. It looks Moroccan to me, but I just love that bed so much. Anyway, he's sitting on it. And then his wife is all giddy now. She feels like they have won the battle. She seems finally to be content, and she's ready to get married tomorrow. Let's just get married tomorrow, James. She's so happy because the church is not demolished. Bob Whitmore is resigning from H&H. It seems that things are finally coming up roses, right? Plus, they still got the house. Now she's saying, let's get married tomorrow, James. And she's holding on James. And James is just kind of sitting there not saying anything. And then she started realizing that his face is going again. As she's talking to him, he is stroking out on the bed. At first, he's sitting up. But we know the symptoms of stroke. We've seen people who have had strokes. Usually it's paralyzation of the face some kind of way. But you can die of major stroke. He's already had a heart attack. He refused to see the doctor all this time. Remember that now. May kept pushing him, go see a doctor, go see a doctor. She was concerned about his memory lapses, but that happens. It happens to me all the time. But he dies there in her arms. She calls the ambulance, and then he wants to write something. So he does like this, and he writes, "I do." So that's her final, I guess this is his final word to her. The marriage, I do. Do you take this man to be your right husband? I do. Do you take this woman to be, She says, I do as well. I love you too. And then that's the end of it. He dies. Well, we don't know absolutely positively that he dies. We know he strokes out and lays back and his eyes are up in his head. It looks like he's dead. Judging by the previews from next week, they don't show him at all. So we assume he's dead. But they did that to us before. Remember they had him have a heart attack in the podium in the pulpit and then go to off to hospital, and we didn't know if he was alive or dead, and then he showed up, he was alive, he recovered. Right? So that's the end of it. Bishop is dead. Next week is the last and finale, people. They really did a good job on this episode. Later.